Welcome to Worldbox. Today we're going to be answering one of history's greatest questions. When it really comes down to it, who's better, girls or guys? Now how we're going to test this is I'm going to break the populace into two sections. One is going to be the girls and the other side will be the boys. And I have to actually separate all the guys and girls by hand. I'm going to give them the immortal trait so that way repopulation isn't an issue. And every so often I'll go ahead and increase their population. Now the map here is completely cut off except for this middle island. And in this middle island I'm going to put some of the most rare materials such as adamantine. So whoever controls this central island will be pretty much in power. I also have two sections kind of quarantined from the rest of their areas that are going to have some of the less rare materials as well as some silver so they can have some decent armies built up. And I'm curious to see who's going to fight amongst themselves the most, the guys or the girls, to get these resources. Then we're going to add one last thing. We're going to add a small island on either side. And this is for something special later on, so you have to just wait and see.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
But let's just say whoever gets to these islands first are going to have a huge advantage over the other. But with that, it's time to populate our islands. So how I'm doing this, I'm making a little enclosed area on the edge of the map. This is the girl side. So what we'll do is we'll grab our humans. We'll put a few of them down. Then we have to go eliminate all the ones that we don't want. Sorry, guys. So now we have 3 girls. We'll put them outside the mountains and then rinse and repeat until we have enough. While I'm at this, I also need to go into their traits and we'll make them each immortal. All right, so the ladies' civilization is set up. I'm beginning with 20, starting small, and then I'll be adding more as we go. And don't question why I did them first. It's always ladies first, right? And after a meticulous few minutes, we have our men set up. First things first, let's see who they elected as their leader. We have Livu, who apparently considers themselves as a him, so not sure what that tells you, but doesn't have much else other than that. Over on the men's side, we have Amatir, who is deceitful. Questionable how he became king. He's also pyromaniac, so he wants to see the world burn. I think this is going well. The girls are building their first structures, have their campfire down, and the boys are doing pretty much the same thing. It does seem like the boys might be expanding just a tad bit faster, and I swear if this number goes up, there's something going on. Though it will be interesting to see once they combine if any of them cross over. Wait a second, both those numbers just went up.
What?
So here we have Pada, who I can't tell is a boy or a girl. I think that might be a boy. And over on the boys' side, they also have a little son. So it looks like somehow they have changed biology and they're producing their own. But this is totally fine. I actually kind of planned for this. The original 20 is going to be the leaders of these civilizations. And as the foundational and ancestral line, they will determine the outcome of this challenge. Yeah, they just went up to 23. And it looks like the girls have actually created their first army. And they chose someone who's a pyromaniac, which is fitting. Oh, and infertile. Oh, that sucks. Because apparently others are getting it on. Boys are up to 23 as well, and it doesn't look like they have... Oh, actually they do have an army. So they are progressing at equal rates so far. And at year 22, the females actually have grown quite a bit, 42 people. They have some bigger buildings as well. The guys have also built up quite a bit. They actually have more people now. A lot of kids running around. Not sure where they're popping out from. Expansion-wise, the dudes are kind of expanding a bit more than the girls. They've decided to make a llama out of their kingdom. Now their side is close to their resources in the mountains, though. And here we can actually see some of our first adult men in the community, age 21. But he's also infertile. Oh, man. But up to 85 people, so it doesn't seem to matter because they're 10 ahead of the boys over here with only 75. And the guys seem to be trailing in their buildings as well. They don't have a second large building. They did just found a new village over here, though. So far, the rivers are keeping them in. Actually, I stand corrected. The boys have just built a boat, so they can go across and get these resources over here. See how long it takes for them to do that. Right now, it's year 33, so it's been about 10 years. And the girls have actually entered the main ocean. Just a matter of time until this area is discovered. Getting pretty close there. Now, whether girls or guys are better at leading really depends on how they respond to crisis. So we're not just going to leave them be. So for our first challenge, we're going to add crocodiles to the rivers and see just how they react. The crocodiles immediately go after them. I kind of thought they would just stay in the water. We'll see how their armies are able to respond to this new threat. Actually, they handled that quite well. Their population didn't dip too much. Let's go see how the boys fare. They took care of the early ones pretty fast. Unfortunately, their dock is getting attacked by the crocodiles. And the boys did lose a house. So the girls actually win this challenge, which means they get a blessing. And that blessing will be a little bit more ore in the middle. Overall, though, the men have expanded more than the females have. That might be due to the shape of the rivers. But if we look at total population, the boys are also in the lead. The girls are making a comeback because they have created their first windmills. So they should be good on food now and maybe can continue to expand. The boys, on the other hand, have as well made 2 windmills. They've actually made 3, so they're expanding even more. Let's check in on the leaders of our 2 civilizations. Emitir is now 51. Absolutely hates his life, is hungry. He actually has a legendary stick as a weapon and has received a gold tooth for being so old. Not sure how that works, but the game does it. Let's contrast that against the leader of the females. She also has a gold tooth, also is 51, which checks out. She has a legendary stone sword and she's not hungry. So I think the boys might be expanding more than they can maintain, and the girls are just taking it slower but have a little bit more up their sleeves. What the boys really need to do is expand across the water over to this section here, because that will allow them to get all sorts of ores that the girls had the advantage of from the challenge. Speaking of challenges, we're going to do another one. I'm going to use the bandits here. I'm going to put them on the edge of civilization. We're going to do the boys first since we did the girls last. So just put a few of them down, and immediately things are on fire. The boys' armies are trying to respond, but this might just cost them. Oh gosh, look at their buildings. Yep. This could be going better. Their population is dwindling and fast. This whole section down here at the bottom was destroyed by the bandits, and they're still fighting. The bandits may have just been a little too much for the boys. While the boys try to fight the rest of them off, we're going to go ahead and do the same over the girls and see how they get on. And they've lost one of their windmills almost immediately. The girls' armies are doing a lot better than the guys, to be fair. And the last bandit was actually just killed. And they only lost the 1 windmill down here. And yet there's still bandits hanging around the boys' side. So again, the girls win. We're going to give them a blessing. And this time, it's going to be a bunch of chickens. So they have even more food for the winter. The boys still have 2 armies. They're just a little bit smaller, and if you look at each of them, they only have sticks, which is the biggest problem. Looks like the winter is doing quite a bit to the girls. They're all freezing, including the chickens. The chickens are also freezing up. If we look at the boys, I don't see any frozen crystal dudes. So somehow they're braving the winter just a little bit better. Neither kingdom has decided to cross the rivers and start expanding outwards, which as soon as either of them do it, they will be way ahead. Population-wise, the boys are almost back to where the girls are, so the bandits might not be as much of a setback as we thought. And the boys are officially bigger than the girls again. And I think it has to do with the boys using all the land that they can. The girls have an entire strip down here that they're not touching for whatever reason. It looks like an unintended challenge has popped up. Snowmen are attacking the girls, and they are falling quick. But luckily, the snowmen are stuck on the other side from them. As they just lost their best building, I'm gonna make a deal with the girls. I'm gonna deal with these snowmen for them, but only if I can give a boon to the boys. Never mind, their king just died. So, judging on that, I think they'd agree. Alright, with most of them taken care of, it's time to give a boon to the boys. Alright, so we give them some stone here. And they're up to 191? Well, they've gone down to 120. So the tables have turned, and they didn't even need our stone, apparently, because they already have stone buildings. Now, in order for them to go for these islands, again, like I said, they're going to be very important. We're going to make them crystal biomes, and we'll see who gets to that island first. Now, the boys have built their first main ship, and it looks like there's people getting on it. So they might finally be expanding across the river. We'll find out soon. The girls, on the other hand, still only have fishing boats. And yes, the boys have done it. They have expanded across the river and are one step closer to getting to their greater minerals. Again, let's check in on our leaders. Some of them might have actually died in what's been going on. So here we have Yacheko, which is in fact a different leader than before. As we can see, he is not a pyromaniac, but he does have strength, which after the bandit attacks makes sense that they would want a strong leader. And the girls have a different leader as well, and interestingly enough, it is not one of the immortals. Now, as this is a woman who has become leader, that leader will be blessed with immortality, just to make sure that they stay as long as possible and make sure that a female is in charge at all times. Speaking of being in charge, it looks like they have begun their explorations with a larger boat. Boys have also expanded to the other side of their island. And so with this, the race is on to see who gets to the middle. The girls are seriously lacking in population now though. Boys are well over 200 and the girls haven't even cracked 150. But they did just expand across the river. Unfortunately, it was the wrong direction, but there are a few more resources here. And for reference, it is year 100. So that means we're going to do another challenge. And as the civilizations are getting stronger, the challenge is going to increase as well. Because the girls struggled so much with the snowmen, that's exactly what we're going to do to the boys now. And if the boys are able to fight it off successfully, then they will get a boon. But if they fail like the girls did, then the girls will get the prize. And because the boys are getting too close to the mountains here, and the girls aren't even close, just to even things out, I'm going to place them up here. And we'll see how well the boys are able to mobilize their armies in response. So it looks like the boys' armies are getting ripped, honestly. Since this is separated from the mainland, the army here isn't even doing anything about it. Unfortunately, the boys did nothing and lost this entire section of their kingdom. So with that, we'll stop the madness. And we will give the prize to the females. And the boys are going to be sad that they lost that challenge because this time we are adding silver. Looking at population, the boys are still winning after all of this was taken away. They should be able to rebuild and then go for their resources. But this will give time for the girls who just got onto this other side to be able to make a run for their resources as well. Girls' population still falling behind. Boys are almost up to 400. And they have quite a few stone buildings in their main capital. Even though they had more stone than the boys, they're just not using it quite as well. And it looks like the boys have completely colonized the area with the silver. This will give them a huge boost, especially since they didn't get that silver that the girls did. Checking our leaders again, Yucheko still hates his life, but he does have legendary leather armor, so he is pretty stacked. But checking the girls' leader, she still has her weapon. Honestly, not a lot has changed. The girls still have yet to get inside the resource valley or use this edge of the kingdom for whatever reason. The boys, on the other hand, are making quick work of that silver and are quickly cultivating this area into a valley haven. I also just realized that on these crystal biomes, there are some very strong enemies. So it might be a while. Well, I guess the girl side is going easy on them. Luck of the draw, I guess. And it looks like the boys have finally gotten to the rest of their materials over here. This river's definitely helped them find it sooner, but the trade-off is when the girls do find this, they can expand as quickly as they want, and they don't have to wait for chance for the exploration boat to come over here. It's honestly their fault that they haven't decided to just go a little bit further and get all the resources they need. Oh, hold on. And while I wasn't paying attention, the boys have actually captured the middle island, which gives them access to some of the rarest materials in the game. Population as well is still well above the girls. If we're going to be honest, the boys have had a harder time of it. At this rate, it'll only be a matter of time before they capture this island as well. The main difference between these two kingdoms is that the boys, they expand, they search, they're looking for more materials, they're overcoming, beating the odds, and they come back quickly. I guess they like to get it on more than the girls. The girls just aren't quite as enthusiastic, though it looks like they did just find the resources inside their valley. So hopefully that will give them a boost and motivate them to seek better ground, but unfortunately it looks like they're going to miss out on the resources in the middle. So far there has been no splintering within the kingdoms, which with these groups that have more of the minerals, it'll be interesting to see if they end up turning on the rest of them. I'm not manipulating any of that, so if it happens it'll be completely natural. Also, I just noticed that the boys kingdom is great 2, which I don't know what the Great 1 was, but not that the girl's name makes any more sense anyways. And at year 143, we've entered an age of dark, and a meteorite has struck the girls' side of the map. Fortunately, it looks like they only lost 2 buildings from it, but it has left them some precious resources. With that, we'll continue on to year 150, where we'll do another challenge. And as we enter year 150, almost the entire boy side has been colonized. The girls, they have a little bit more space to go. I don't know why they haven't gone for these resources as much as the guys have, but they have a little bit more space to expand. Population wise, 750 versus 640. No one's gone for the little crystal islands yet though, which is a problem. But since it is year 150, we're gonna hit them with another challenge. And this challenge, since it is the age of dark, we're going to place some necromancers down just so it fits the theme. And ladies are gonna go first this time. So I'm gonna place 15 of them down right here. So the 15 are down, and immediately they are slaughtering people. And the girls' armies are mobilizing to fight this new challenge. They're not getting very far. They have not killed very many of them. So as the girls are dealing with that, we'll do the boys as well. And for this one, there is no winner. Whoever handles the necromancers best are going to get the most staffs out of it, and so their armies are going to be equipped with better weapons. So we'll do it in a similar location. We'll place down 15, and we'll see how the boys fare. Immediately, the boys' armies are coming to wage war, and it looks like they're doing a little bit better than the girls are doing. Though unfortunately, their armies have died out quite fast. To make this a little bit easier, I'm going to turn off the regeneration trait for the necromancers, so that way the armies can actually make progress. And I am doing the girls first, so that way a similar amount of damage is done to both. So all their regeneration has been turned off, and they're starting to split up, so the boys will be able to deal with them incrementally, but it did take out both of their armies. Not exactly sure what this symbol means. Oh my goodness, hold on. The boys have officially split into 2 kingdoms, and instead of fighting the necromancers, they're now at war with each other instead. Let's find out who the new leaders are. So we have Wickul here, which has a steel bow. We will grant them immortality. And unfortunately, Great 2 has not chosen a new leader quite yet. But this might be the turning point for the females. If they can stick together, their numbers will overwhelm the boys. And what's interesting is Blue is the one that's dealing with the necromancers the most. There's only so many on the brown side. Now I have to refer to them separately, and yet they are the ones that are attacking. Now, since they're at war, if someone was to take this island, the effect of that island will go against who they're at war at. So if they're still separate and they're at war with everyone, basically, it'll go at the girls because that's the point of the challenge. But if the girls are still peaceful with them and they're doing their thing, then the effect is going to go against the guys. And it looks like Great 2 has finally chosen a new leader, so let's go give them immortality. Kind of stacked as far as gear goes. Well, let's give Emo immortality and see how long they last. Looks like Blue has gained some ground back into Brown. They've actually swapped sides now, so it really is just a toss-up as to who's going to win. My money's on Brown, though. I think that Blue has more to deal with the necromancers. So the game decided that the girls couldn't get away without any punishment. And so while the boys are still duking it out, a wild mage has spawned on the girls' side and is doing quite a bit of damage. But if they're able to kill him, they will get his staff, which is going to be extremely powerful in whatever battle they need to face in the future. Brown has officially taken the middle island as well. And it looks like the King Emo didn't last very long. He was slain by Pad, whoever Pad is. So Brown has totally infested Blue's space over here, so that will go down soon. And there's just this little area left. Though it does look like their king is suing for peace. Going into year 175, we have entered an age of despair, so food will be hard to come by, and people will literally be freezing into shards of ice. And if matters weren't bad enough, now they have to battle the elements and the elements that spawn from the elements. It looks like the troubles on the boys' side is not over yet. The middle island has declared themselves as their separate kingdom, and Brown didn't like it very much, so they are going to be squashed by Brown. And just like that, their short-lived reign is over. This age of despair is having a toll on the people. Brown is down to just over 200. Great 2 is actually hanging on and keeping a pretty stable population. Yellow has lost this entire side of their kingdom, which, as it is a time of despair, I've decided to give each side some precious minerals in their valley. But the girls will have to re-expand to get over there. And the boys, well, Blue's the only one that's going to get any of it. So we'll see what they do with these newfound riches. It seems as though the girls aren't able to deal with the age of despair as well as the boys are. Blue, granted they have all these materials now, but they're growing in population, while Brown is staying steady at about 230, but Yellow just keeps on dropping. And so by the time that we exit this age of despair, the boys may yet have the advantage. Going into year 200, the girls have almost been annihilated by the elements. Brown has actually been able to expand a little bit during this time, and Blue has hung around 100. Now that marks year 200, for the sake of the challenge, I'm going to change the age to an age of hope and let them rebuild for their final challenges. Unfortunately, the middle island is being cleared by a mage, which has left it no man's land. And he has mysteriously disappeared, so it will remain no man's land until someone reclaims it. Oh, never mind. He has decided to attack Blue, and he's even attacking them over the mountains. So Blue can do absolutely nothing. But while this is happening, it looks like Brown is wanting war. They may be going to attack Blue when they're at their weakest. And yes, Brown is attacking Blue. This fire mage might get in the way of their plans though. But this very well could be the end of Blue, and then we would have one kingdom on each side again. And it looks like Brown has started their attack on Blue, though it doesn't look like they're doing a whole lot yet. It seems as though Blue's only defender is their strongest warrior who has one of the necromancer staffs. Brown's next army just landed and it is much larger. Blue is able to get a few more recruits, but I don't think it'll be enough. All they have is their leader left. And no, they have been captured. The leader actually switched sides, which means there's only one settlement left of Blue, and this one didn't even exist until a little bit ago. But wait, it looks like Brown is gonna sue for peace now. They just want to humiliate Blue, but I don't think they're gonna be able to call for peace before they're wiped out. Nope, that's it. Great 2, which was the original boy kingdom, has been removed, and now Brown is in control of pretty much everything, and they're much stronger than the girls. The girls have just been trying to survive, but with internal affairs figured out, we're going to begin the final challenge, where we connect the mainlands to the middle island, and we'll then see what happens. And just to give the girls some amount of hope, I'm going to connect this settlement to the Crystal Land, and if they decide to expand to there, then they will be able to use it against Brown. And it looks like they are expanding. They have reached the crystal, which means that they get to use it. Oh, it's actually expanding. That could get dangerous. But that means that they get to use the island against Brown. So how this works is the crystal biome is going to spawn enemies. And when an enemy on the crystal island is defeated, that will give yellow the power to destroy part of blue. And hopefully that will happen soon because Brown has just declared war on yellow. In the middle there is a massive battle. All of yellow's troops against all of Brown's. Here in the crystal area, they did kill one of them, which means that they can nuke one enemy city to do as much damage as possible. And yellow has actually chosen to use it on their own land and take out Brown's armies, sacrificing most of their land. But looking at Brown's armies, it doesn't look like it's gonna be enough. The girls have barely hung on to survival this entire time, while the boys have thrived. But we're down to their final 2 cities. This is their capital, and most of it's destroyed anyways. Before they finish off yellow, Brown has begun to sue for peace. But the mighty Afosek of the girls' nation has received word that their sister city has harnessed the power of the crystal biome. And rather than live oppressed under the rule of the boys, she chooses to give nothing to them and end her own land, destroying herself, her kingdom, their resources in the process, and Brown's colonies, leaving nothing for them, hence no glory in the end. And thus we leave the tale of the boys versus girls. We've answered the age-old question, but the true alphas aren't the ones that conquer others or just try to survive. It's those that subscribe. So subscribe if you haven't. I'm working towards 1,000 by the end of the year, and if you subscribe, I promise I won't declare war on you. Also, if you haven't seen my last videos, here they are. Go ahead and take a look, and I will catch you guys next time.